1. Islamic myths in the Middle East. In Islamic culture, the jinns are invisible creatures created from smoke-free fire and live with humans. In Islamic stories, there are battles between humans and evil jinns, such as the Africans. One of the most famous examples is Solomon, who had the power to control the jinns and some of them. 2. European myths. In Europe, the battle of humans with supernatural beings such as alphabets, fairy, and demons is found in ancient stories. In the Middle Ages, the knights often fought with creatures such as demons and goblins, especially in Arthurian stories such as Merlin and Round Table Knights. In some Celtic narratives, humans were involved with fae, who were mysterious and sometimes dangerous creatures. 1. Iranian myths. In Ferdowsi's Shahnameh, there are battles between Iranian heroes and evil creatures. One of the most famous is the War of Rostam and Dave White. Although Dave White is not exactly a jinn, it is a symbol of evil forces that are associated with many Iranian cultures. 1. Indian myths. In Indian epics such as Ramana and Mahabharata, humans fight beings like Rakshasa that are creatures similar to evil jinn. Ravana, the king of Rakshasa, is the main enemy in Ramayana. Urg, an evil battle in Norse myths. In the myths of Norse, one of the most famous events is Ragnarok, an endless battle in which gods, human beings, giants, and evil beings engage in a huge war. Like the Lord of the Rings, in this battle, evil forces, including evil giants and creatures, attack the gods and humans. Characters such as Tur, Loki and Himdad are present in these battles, and the war is held for the fate of the world and human life. This story has similarities to the great battles and the courage of the characters of The Lord of the Rings, where the evil forces are trying to conquer the world. 7 rings in Celtic myths. In colonial myths, there are 7 rings that resemble the story of the power circles in The Lord of the Rings. These rings symbolize the magical powers that are in the hands of specific individuals and are used to dominate the world and the supernatural powers. In some legends, rings have magical powers that are able to deceive human beings or corrupt the world. These stories are very similar to the concept of power circles in The Lord of the Rings, where rings give power to humans or demonic creatures, but at the same time have great risks. The end of the gods or Gothardamrung is the final battle and the end of the world's work in Scandinavian myths. The event consisted of a major battle that eventually led to the death of a number of major figures in the northern myths, including Odin, Thor, Loki, Tyr, Freyr and Heimdall, as well as the occurrence of various natural disasters. This period of time should be faced with the time, but the end is not everything, rather a new world then begins. Those who survive in Ragnarok. 1. Walvind and disagreements, all humans. In some narratives, it is said that Walland, which in some versions refers to the reservation, is from the human race and those who remain as new humans after the destruction of the world. 2. Youth and children of the gods. Freya, one of the gods with special colonial powers, along with names to the magic characters in the world. Symptoms of starting Regnar. After the death of Balder, the god of light and innocence, that Loki succeeded in killing his brother Hoder, the gods decide not to overcome Loki's deception and to make him, Midgard, Middle Land, where the lives of mortal humans. In the movie Lord of the Rings, this area is called Middle-earth, perhaps as Loki goes to human life, deceit and corruption will enter Midgard. Or about the power rings in the movie Lord of the Rings. Celtic rings have rich symbolism that are rooted in Celtic culture and decorated with complex designs. This pattern represents loyalty, crown, friendship, hands, and love heart. Celtic rings often have Celtic nodes, also known as nodes, which are characterized by endless rings without a specified start or finish. These nodes represent the cycle nature of life, eternity and connection. Another conventional Celtic symbol seen on the rings is Trutra, also known as Trinity node. It has 3 interconnected rings that symbolize the idea of 3 distinct aspects, such as earth, sea and sky, or mind, body and soul. The story of Solomon's magical ring is one of the most mysterious and special stories in history, which, according to the past, had supernatural power, and therefore fights in addition to humans in the goblins and demons, because it was capable of exaggerating the devils and goblins. Other features of Solomon's ring are the greatest spells, summoning the jinn and the soul, talking to animals, and mastering the demons. The story of Prophet Solomon's ring in the Quran has been mentioned in verses from Surah Prophets, Surat al-Saba and Surah Namal, and the name of Solomon's ring is generally mentioned 17 times in the Quran. According to the traditions in the Quran, God in the Quran deals with the attributes and characteristics of this ring, including science and wisdom, acquaintance with the language of birds, conquering the wind, reign over goblins and demons, and possessing a widespread property and government. One day Prophet Solomon lends the ring to his slave, and one of the goblins who made himself in the form of Prophet Solomon comes to Amenan, takes the ring and holds the ring and then sits on the throne instead of Solomon. The jinn rented on Solomon's throne for 40 days, and then an angel came and pulled him down from the throne, and the jinn threw the ring in the sea. The ring was swallowed by the fish, but the fish fell by Solomon the same day, and the prophet found the ring after the fracture of the fish, but he did not return to the city, and the city who were informed of the story went after the prophet and returned to Solomon and sat down to the throne. Prophet Solomon is in fact the same ring with his orcus, and dragons are any kind of evil ghosts, and human beings are now ruled by Solomon Janian and the devils of human beings, so with the power of the ring, that ring was now in the sea, or in the sea. There was a ring.